Hello dear viewers, welcome back to the channel, it's Maverick here, and today we are starting our watch of the second season, or second core, whatever you want to call it, of 86. So, yes indeed, this follows on directly after the events of the first season, which was about, what was it, one season, 2 seasons ago, and really one of the standout animes, I have to say, of this year. To me, it's already, early contender for anime of the year, along with some other really good works as well. But I mean, I just absolutely love 86, right? I love the characterizations in it. I love how the story draws some clear parallels to real life stuff, and how they're trying to. It's definitely not like idealistic, right? It's not like a childish take on war and military matters and so on and so forth. It's cruel, it's grim, and the characters themselves, they die tragic deaths, tragic heroes, if you will. But at the same time, it doesn't go overtly into the emotional overdrives and tries to push too much towards that kind of very much on the screen crying or breakdowns or whatnot, but really just a subtle melancholy, if you will, of the various emotions and whatnot, while facing endless despair and the ever-looming threat of death, right? And in particular, right, I am impressed by the characterization of the main character, Lena. When she started out, honestly, I did not really care too much for her. She seemed, I mean, beyond, being a pretty face and all that, and, as you normally go with protagonist characters, they're nice, they want to do the right thing, they're idealistic and whatnot. But hey, towards the end, she shaped out to be a badass, right? She's now gone through the actual horrors of war, the horrors of losing, comrades and whatnot, people close to her. Well, close, if you will, but at the very least, a comrade in arms, right? Yeah, she's matured a lot as well, and she's now the sort of character to get shit done. No more Miss Nice Girl or whatnot. She is going to do whatever it takes to right wrongs, not only on the battlefield, but perhaps within the entire empire as well, right? And speaking of which, are we ever going to see Shin again? Don't really know, right? I think at the end of the first season, it is implied that his head has been cut off as well, but as you know, with the swarm and all that, maybe that doesn't mean that Shin is completely dead. Maybe there's still some other things. Maybe we can still see them later on in another sort of how can I say that? In another sort of shape or in another sort of form, right? But anyways, I think that's enough of a reminiscence of the first season. Let's just get into the episode and see where exactly we pick up from here. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Okay, I guess we are starting. This is quite similar to how the first episode and first season started, right? Okay, so I guess this is an entirely new unit, right? Choik. Alright. Alright, they're actually not the Empire, right? They're supposed to be a Republic. Oops! My bad! Ethically responsible drones. Right, they're the Republic. They're fighting against the Empire. Honestly, I don't understand how, like, even if they want to look down on, like, the 86 and all that, I find it hard to believe that, like, a military organization would condone drinking, like, just in the, just on the open hours and, sorry, not open hours, while on active duty. Demoted to captain, eh? Yeah, she got demoted from major to captain, and now she's working for lieutenant colonel instead. Oh, she's actually building her own faction as well. Oh, snowing. Yeah, so she's recruiting allies to her side now. See, you can't really do it alone. You can't do a revolution alone. A revolution alone. Oh, what is that little streak of red in her hair, though? Is that like her hair? No, it's just queen. I know, honestly, being called queen is much better than being called princess, I feel. So she's trying to limit how much how close she grows to them, right? She cares for them, but she doesn't want to get involved in a very on a very personal level. Is that actually... Like I said, Lena is becoming such a badass. I love it. She got the cat back from the base, actually. Oh, is this? Yep. What'd I say? I had a feeling that it's not the end we see of him. And there's Big Bro. One of my biggest complaints, actually, about the first season was how I don't think this particular aspect of the story was completely fleshed out. In all honesty, it was my least favorite part of the first season. I feel like it didn't really explain much about, you know, this particular part. I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're family, they're brothers, and so on and so forth. Although later on, thanks to some of you guys, I did get the full story of these two, which makes me care about them a lot more. But I'm just saying, as for it in the anime adaptation, I wasn't really too satisfied with how they did it. Okay, so you were not beheaded, or are you beheaded? We only see your head right now, so I have no idea. Oh, seems like you have a body. Yeah, you have a body. So, who are these guys from the Empire? Yeah, Gad. Yeah, so, beyond the part that is being occupied by the Legion. Whoa, they all survived? What the hell? There's no president. Ooh. Okay. Huh. Yeah, they're like, how could you want to go and sacrifice yourself and all that? Huh. I mean, I'm not. Obviously, I should be glad that they're all alive. But I certainly hope that we're not gonna get too much of the Deus Ex Machina and miraculously surviving and whatnot. But really, beyond all this, I want to learn more about the Federacy. The Federation, actually. And you know, since it is a Federation, I do wonder. Anyways, as I was saying, because it's a federation, right? I do kind of feel like if there's going to be other sort of political power plays, as a federation would mean that the local political power is something to take into account as well. Yeah, I was like, I know that's. I feel like they're trying to to give him a sort of like e- evil mastermind kind of feeling too as well, but why though? I feel like what he's saying isn't wrong. Yeah, so they do okay. So they actually do know about the 86. Oh, okay. Because they released the news. Okay. Though I have a feeling he was taken in, though. I mean, she was taken in by the president. Yeah, yeah. I don't think she's. Yeah, probably remnant of the empire. I bet she's the princess or something. You know, the fact that she's going on about lowborn and whatnot. This guy, who would be a sister to? Oh, no, she didn't say anything. Hmm. Compensate for things. Oh, he lost his own children? Or maybe he's kinda sorta responsible for this whole mess in the first place? Empress. Oh, even more. Even higher, okay. Hey. Huh. Okay, since this is the first episode, I will be going through the ending. Or maybe this is the opening here. Now, actually, I'll reserve my comments until, after this, right? Let's focus on the song and visuals for now. Oh. Yeah, looks like they are going to go back onto the battlefield. With little sister as well, eh? Kill Kaisen, eh? Border, in a sense. Yeah. Alright, I will see you guys after this. Alright guys, we are off to a great start to the second season of 86. And, like I said before, one of the things I love about this work, anime or light novel or whatever, the entire series as a whole, is just how the progression is logical, right? Things happen in a way that they should happen. Like for instance, all the way back, let's talk about the first part, right? Because it looks like they're going with the same sort of concept for the first season as well, where we kind of see things from Lena's perspective, and then we see some things from Shin or the other 86's perspective, and so on and so forth. Let's talk about Lena. So I mentioned at the very, very beginning that I loved Lena's transition into, this badass character, right? She still has her ideals that she wants to uphold, right? Saving the 86, changing the Republic, and so on and so forth, but she's choosing to go about it in a more realistic way, right? She's becoming more and more of a realist, much more pragmatic as well. Well, if you guys go back to the first season, whilst Lena was trying to do a lot of things, I was kind of also criticizing her and being like, Lena, even though you have the best of intentions, you're never gonna get any place with that. You're not going to change anything just by trying to spread your ideals and trying to get people on, get the higher ups or whatnot on your side, trying to make these grand speeches and whatnot. It's never gonna work that way, right? In order to actually do something about it, you can't go it alone. You need to get allies. You need to get people on your side, and you have to work in the shadows, and you have to work on the basis of, on the basis of how can, you need to be on the same, I'm struggling to think of the wording here. You need to make sure that your goals, your aims is aligned with those that of your allies, right? Like, you can have idealistic comrades. I'm sure that those that we saw around Lena, those walking beside her, those that she was confiding with, those people are actually the ones who might actually be following with Lena because they believe in what she's saying here, right? They believe there's a problem with everything. Maybe they just think the Republic shouldn't, maybe they believe that the Legion is going to find a way to mount a massive attack, and the Republic is going to fall as a result of this. Maybe they're doing this purely from that sense, or maybe they are also, like Lena, trying to thinking that this entire prejudice against the 86, this injustice is inhumane, and it's not right. It's morally wrong and whatnot. And maybe they're convinced on that part. I'm sure there's actually numerous people with numerous different kinds of attitudes toward this situation, but Lena needs to find a way to take advantage of it, or make them follow her and do things for this great cause, based on what their concern is with, and react accordingly, right? Even at the very beginning, while she was going up against her superior, right, the lieutenant colonel, she's now not actually just trying to do things without any backup and being like, okay, I can just do whatever I want because this is it's the right thing to do, right? See where that got her? It got her demoted, and heck, she probably, due to her background and whatnot, she wasn't entirely like, court-martialed or kicked out of the army or so on and so forth. But, she's gotta do things smartly now, right? And so in terms of her sort of interaction with the lieutenant colonel, now it's more on the basis of, hey, if you just give me good support, you give me the required authorization and whatnot, I will make sure that you get your proper reward as well. You'll get promoted, yours, because they have their superiors that they need to report to and whatnot. I'm your top performer, just support me and I'll make sure that you get what you want, right? Now, I guess the only way that it might be a little bit more realistic is in the way that she talks to the lieutenant colonel, right? I would have liked if it was a little less confrontational, but that's really more of a minor nitpick there. What I'm saying here is that at least on the surface level, try to maintain a cordial relation with the lieutenant colonel, instead of being so cold and so impolite, if you will. Maybe, try to, you can still try to persuade him using the stuff that you were talking about, right? I'm your top performer, just give the authorization and I'll make sure that you always have the highest performing unit within the army and so on and so forth. Later on, while she wants to complain to herself or for a monologue or maybe complain to her confidence and whatnot, then at that point she can take on the release the attitude and be like, oh man, that guy is such a useless pig, or that kind of language or things. But being so confrontational, I don't really think is such a good idea there. But that's really more of a minor nitpick more than anything else. And let's be honest here, we all want to see badass Lena talking back to superiors and whatnot. So I can understand why that particular scene was in there, and it was portrayed in that particular way, right? So really no complaints from me there. So it's obvious that she's trying to do something about the situation. Maybe not so much. You gotta survive first, right? You gotta survive against the Legion first, and then maybe once you pass this most urgent crisis, then you can start trying to do various other things, right? So she has a plan in mind now, and she's acting towards the plan, and she's gathering allies, also taking care of the 86 as well, taking care of the military units. I love that her nickname is now the Queen, right? Definitely a much better upgrade from Princess and whatnot. And I don't think I need to talk more about her. I mean, such a great change around, such great character development, and I am looking forward to the future. I'm interested to see how they further explore her story, right? Is she going to be pushed towards making more and more difficult decisions, right? Ones which weigh the lives of the individual versus the versus a common goal or a greater goal or something of that sort, right? Is she going to be put into situations where she needs to maybe in some ways kill her own humanity a little bit in order to achieve the final goal, the final victory, if you will? So I am interested whether we are going to, or actually whether the author is going to push her towards that end, and we'll see, right? We'll see. And then we have Shin and the others, right? Now, I already mentioned, I'm not entirely 100% that thrilled with them having this sort of miraculous survival or whatnot. I mean, obviously, I kind of thought that Shin at least would survive. He's quite the important character, I would imagine. But all the others... but I guess if you're going to save Shin, maybe you're gonna save all the others as well. So putting aside that, right, the entire situation with the Federation is indeed quite intriguing. I think I also mentioned back in the first season that the only way I see out of this situation is if there are other countries beyond the Republic's borders that can also help as well. Because I feel like if it was only the Republic on its own, they are doomed, right? If they are the last remnants of humanity, I don't think that they by themselves can fight back against the Legion. So having this other country here, I wasn't expecting it to be the reborn empire. I was indeed expecting there to be some other third party, some tertiary forces out there that could help the situation and also fight back against the Legion, right? They need to have some sort of ally. So And it being a sort of like coup from the original empire, switching to a federation and whatnot. Sure, right? Sure, I could totally see that going down, and it seems that how to explore exploring how this actually happened is going to be a major focal point in this season as well, right? I mean, we already see the little girl Federica and whatnot. You know. It was quite obvious from her dialogue as well that she probably came from nobility, right? Especially considering that the empire was an empire in the past. I'm pretty sure there were nobles and royalty and whatnot. So I was guessing that she was perhaps like a princess within the royal family. And at the end it is confirmed she's the empress. What that actually means, I'm assuming, is that all her parents were killed and her next of kin were killed as well. Maybe I'm quite interested to see like whether the president also had something to do with all this. You would think it probably does, right? Because of you have to overthrow the empire, right, in order to boot them out and become change the nation into a federation. So I do think that exploring the nation as well, exploring their ideals, is going to be an important part here as well. And it also goes into like there's already two different things, or actually three different things I feel, actually many different things that we need to take note of, right? Like one is the history of it, and what actually happened a few years back. How did they get to this sort of situation in the first place? And through digging this history, probably also digging through the history of how the Legion came to be in the first place, right? So that's one thing. The second thing is definitely in the president himself as well. Even though I feel like he is definitely putting on this character of I do feel that he is acting in the best interest. He is acting in a morally correct way. However, the little subtle hints that we've seen so far, right, in terms of their dialogue, in terms of how sometimes the scene focuses on him and his facial reactions and whatnot, does give me the kind of feeling that maybe he's trying to do this for compensating something that happened to him or something that he did, right? And that is important, right? Because you could have your heart in the right place, but maybe you're going to, or maybe you're doing the right thing, but maybe you're overdoing it in a sense, right? And that could also lead to some less than brilliant situations as well, right? Like maybe the president is trying to do good for humanity and whatnot, but would that actually in some ways actually lead him astray from the path of righteousness or whatnot into a path of going back to what I was talking about Lena before, right? When you encounter a situation where you weigh the lives or the importance of individuals, or heck, even some groups of people versus the whole of humanity and whatnot, what kind of decision will you make, right? I do wonder if they're setting up a storyline for him as well in terms of that, actually. So that's also something to keep an eye on as well. And thirdly, the nation, I mean, and so far it seems everything is authentic, right? In terms of what the military are thinking, obviously they want skilled pilots to be on their side and whatnot. The citizens' reactions towards the 86 and whatnot, having that kind of fire in them, it does seem, it does seem authentic right now, but again, since Shin and the others are definitely wary, right? I feel like we also need a little bit more time and a few more episodes in order to fully get the entire situation in regards to the nation and whatnot. And yeah, I think that's it for that point. And obviously, Shin and the others, they want to get back in the battlefield. They obviously still want to go back and rescue the rest of their comrades, the rest of their families, the other 86 and whatnot. They're not going to just be here and be like, okay, yeah, we're saved and we're never going to the battlefield again, right? Like what the president is saying makes a lot of sense, right? Hey, they're still kids, and they should have the ability to, or they should have the privilege of choosing what they want to do next, but still, since this is they really can't just stay on the sidelines, especially since they're the best and the brightest of the of the combat units that the 86 has sent out and whatnot. They obviously want to go back to the battlefield and whatnot. But we'll explore that a little bit later as well. So yeah. Anyways, as I was saying, I really love how everything is tied together and coming together. It's really really logical development and whatnot, and yeah, I am excited to see like what other kinds of stories that they have here. I talked a little bit about this being a federation, right? Well, and him only being the provisional president, right? So that also leads me to believe that maybe there is some local instability still within the nation as well, and maybe the war against the Legion, or the sort of how can I put this? The sort of freeing of the 86 and whatnot, could that actually be used as a political bargaining chip and whatnot? Those are definitely some themes that I feel could make an appearance in the future as well. And then finally we got that Shin looking at that piece of Ray's plate and whatnot, which obviously is his brother, and so on and so forth. I mean, that I think ties into the entire thing of how Shin and the others survived that final battle there, right? Obviously something miraculous happened, and so on and so forth. Perhaps due to the presence of Ray, right, Shin's brother, and whatnot. Maybe he got back his conscience at the very end, and managed to escort them to relative safety, or so on and so forth. But who knows, right? We will explore that more in the future. So anyways, the first episode back, the quality is absolutely fantastic as usual. The story, the pacing, absolutely fantastic as usual. I am looking so forward to this, and hopefully you guys are as well. So thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.